Why do you fail? Every year, you make the same promises. You say, "This is the year I change. This is the month I stop smoking. This is the week I finally get in shape." You start with an explosion of energy. You go to the gym for 2 hours. You throw away all the junk food. You delete every social media app. You try to flip your entire life upside down in 24 hours. And for 3 days, you feel like a god. But on day 4, you're tired. On day 5, you miss a session. And by day 7, you're back exactly where you started, feeling weaker and more hopeless than before. You think your problem is that you're lazy. You think you lack willpower. But you're wrong. Your problem is not your discipline. Your problem is your strategy. You're trying to climb Mount Everest by sprinting. And that is why you die on the side of the mountain. The ancient Japanese understood that great changes do not happen by explosions. They happen by erosion. They happen through a philosophy known as Kaizen, Gaishan. It translates to good change or continuous improvement. But in the world of the warrior, it means something much deeper. It means the relentless, slow, invisible destruction of your weakness. Today, we are not going to give you a motivation speech. We are going to give you a system that bypasses your brain's fear of change and destroys your bad habits without you even realizing they are dying. If you're tired of the cycle of start, fail, repeat, subscribe to the TGR Flurby. It is time to step off the hamster wheel and step onto the path. To understand Kaizen, we must look at the story of a young man named Hiroshi in post-war Japan. Hiroshi was a man of great ambition, but he was plagued by a heavy laziness. He wanted to be a master calligrapher, a man of culture and discipline. But every night, instead of practicing, he would drink sake and gamble with his friends. Every morning, he would wake up filled with regret. He would scream at himself in the mirror. "Tonight, I will practice for 4 hours. I will not drink." And when night came, the task of practicing for 4 hours seemed so heavy, so painful, that he would say, "I will start tomorrow." And he would go back to the drink. Desperate, Hiroshi went to a Zen temple to seek the advice of an old abbot. "Master," Hiroshi said, "I have a demon inside me. I try to fight it, but it is too strong. I try to work, but the work is too heavy." The abbot smiled and said, "The demon is not strong. You are just trying to lift the whole world at once." The abbot gave Hiroshi a brush and a single piece of paper. "Here is your task," the abbot said. "Every day, when you come home, you must enter your study room. You must sit down, and you must write one single character, just one. After that, you are free to leave. You are free to drink. You are free to gamble, but you must write one character." Hiroshi was confused. "One character? That will take 10 seconds. How will that make me a master?" "Do not question the method," the abbot said. "Just do the work." The first night, Hiroshi came home. He wanted to go out, but he remembered the promise. He went to his desk, picked up the brush, wrote one character, and put it down. It was so easy. It felt ridiculous. The next night, he did it again, and the next. Because the task was so small, Hiroshi's lazy mind did not fight it. There was no resistance. There was no fear. After 2 weeks, something strange happened. Hiroshi sat down, wrote his one character, and then he didn't feel like leaving yet. He was already seated. The ink was already wet. "I might as well write another one," he thought, so he wrote 2. A month later, 2 became 5. 5 became a page. A page became an hour. Because he had bypassed the initial friction, the hardest part of any habit, the momentum began to build naturally. A year later, Hiroshi was no longer drinking. He was spending his evenings in deep, meditative practice. He hadn't forced the bad habit out. He had simply grown the good habit so slowly, so quietly, that the bad habit had no room to exist. He had used Kaizen. He had used the power of the small step to conquer the mountain. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds too slow. I need results now. And this is where we need to look at the science. The human brain is wired for survival, not for success. Deep inside your brain, there is a part called the amygdala. This is your ancient alarm system. It controls the fight or flight response. When you try to make a massive change, like, I will never eat sugar again, or I will study for 6 hours a day, your amygdala views this radical shift as a threat. It panics. It floods your body with cortisol. It creates anxiety and resistance to stop you from changing, because to the primitive brain, safety equals staying the same. This is why you fail. You trigger your own alarm system. Kaizen works because it is a stealth operation. When you tell your brain, I will just do 1 push-up, or I will just read 1 page, the amygdala sleeps. It says, oh, that's nothing. That's safe. You tiptoe past the guard dog. By the time the guard dog wakes up, you're already inside the house. You have already established the neural pathway. Kaizen is not about being slow. It is about being smart. It is about tricking your biology into cooperation instead of conflict. Let's be brutally honest for a moment. The reason you scoff at small steps is because of your ego. You're addicted to the fantasy of the heroic transformation. You want the movie montage. You want to post on Instagram that you're doing 75 hard or beast mode. Writing 1 sentence doesn't look cool. Doing 1 push-up doesn't get likes. So, you choose the flashy option that leads to failure, rather than the humble option that leads to success. You're arrogant. You think you're too good for small steps. And that arrogance is keeping you mediocre. You need to kill the part of you that wants applause and feed the part of you that wants results. A river cuts through rock not because of its power, but because of its persistence. Are you a flash flood? Or are you the river? A flash flood makes a lot of noise and then disappears into the mud. The river flows quietly, day after day, until it carves the Grand Canyon. Stop trying to impress people with how hard you work. Start impressing yourself with how long you can last. So, how do we apply the Kaizen protocol to destroy a modern addiction? Whether it is scrolling, smoking, or junk food, the method is the same. We do not attack the fortress. We starve the enemy. Step 1. The 1-minute principle. If you're trying to start a good habit to replace a bad one, make the goal stupidly small. Do not say, I will run every morning. Say, I will put on my running shoes every morning. That's it. Even if you don't run, you must put on the shoes. You're building the initiation ritual. Once the shoes are on, the brain often says, well, we are already here. Step 2. The 1%. Friction increase. If you're trying to stop a bad habit, do not ban it. Just make it 1% harder to do. If you're addicted to your phone in bed, do not say, I will leave it in the kitchen. You will likely fail tonight. Instead say, I will put it on the dresser across the room. It is a small distance, but that 1 extra step creates a pause, and in that pause, you regain your free will. Next week, put it in the hallway. The week after, the kitchen. Kaizen pushes the addiction further away, inch by inch. Step 3. Isolate the trigger. Kaizen asks us to look at the process. Why do you do the bad habit? Usually it is HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. When you feel the urge, wait just 1 minute before giving in. Use Kaizen on the urge itself. Say to yourself, I can do this bad habit, but I have to wait 60 seconds. Usually, the chemical wave of the craving peaks and crashes within those 60 seconds. Here is your action plan. Do not click off this video and try to change your whole life. You will fail. Pick one thing. Just one. If you want to read 1 paragraph tonight. If you want to stop drinking soda, pour out just the last sip of the can. If you want to exercise, do 1 squat every time you go to the bathroom. It sounds meaningless, but do it for 30 days. You will find that the 1 squat becomes 10. The 1 paragraph becomes a chapter. You're planting a seed. It looks like nothing now, but inside that seed is a massive tree. You just have to water it. Every single day. Remember the words of the samurai. Fast is slow, but smooth is fast. Do not rush to your death. Walk to your victory. If you're humble enough to take the first step, comment below. 1 step at a time. Like this video to plant the seed. Subscribe to the TGR Flurby to watch it grow. Dismissed.